Organization or not, they usually start off out here. Hopefully they're highly motivated to do a really good job. But because they're new to the organization or they're new to the position, they might have been a great whatever they were last time they got promoted to management or something or to a new level. Their learning curve is still in effect. So when you hire somebody, even a highly educated, highly skilled, highly experienced person, usually the first day that you start paying them, they're not producing as much value as you're paying them yet. But of course, the idea is eventually they'll be producing so much value they're worth the money. And that learning curve might be 2 weeks, 6 months, 2 years, who knows what it is. But once someone is past that learning curve to the point where they are really proficient at their job, then we'd say that they're a quadrant 2 person. So for a certain period of time, they're in quadrant 1, hopefully they'll move over to quadrant 2. What happens though is that if things change and those people decide, and this is where most people exist in a lot of organizations, they're still competent, but they're not engaged anymore. And they don't really want to do their job so much, or they'll do their job but not really any more than that. And they go down into quadrant 3. And the thing is maybe you've seen this. Maybe you've seen people who are, they're just going to do their job, but that's really all they're going to do, and there's a reason. Does anybody think of any reasons why you might shift if you were once a quadrant 2? Maybe in your own career you've experienced this. Maybe you've, as I've described these quadrants, would see yourself as at one time a quadrant 2 and have, through some reason or another, shifted down to a 3, where you're still going to do your job, but you're just, I'm not going to try as hard anymore. I'm not going to run when I can walk. There's something that usually causes you to do that, and usually it's not you. Usually it's not because you get lazy or tired. Usually it's because some external factors have happened. What gets people from here to here, in my experience, is not being heard, not being listened to. Because frankly, not many people know how to do someone's job as well as the people who do it every day. Have you ever seen that show, Undercover Boss? You ever seen that one? What a great show. What a bunch of brave executives to go into that. And I wonder how many people do that and then think, wait, they don't sign the release because they know they look so foolish. I don't know if that ever happens or not, but I would think that happens. The fact is that if you're not being heard because you know you're doing something and you go back to management and you say, I have this great idea, and if you're not listened to, you're going to just stop. You're going to get disengaged. And I think the analogy that I used last week was, if there's a particular problem going on in the organization and you think you've come up with a solution and you go with the solution, now maybe that idea has already been thought of and for various reasons isn't the best option. Really there's 2 ways that the management can handle that. They could say, you know what, go back to work, let us worry about it. Or they could say, you know what, we're glad you're thinking. We thought of that too. They could communicate, they could share with you and say, here's the reasons, here's what we looked at, and this is why we decided not to go that way. But thanks for thinking of us. If you come up with something else, we'd love to hear it. Now, that's 2 very different conversations. It still doesn't implement the idea that was not going to work properly, but it means that the person in one scenario is just going to keep themselves. Next time they think of a real original idea, they're probably going to be reluctant, not out of spite or anything like that. It's just nobody wants to hear that their opinion's not welcome. So they'd rather, no, they know what they're doing. I'll just leave it. And it might be spiteful, it might be just self-protection. Who knows what it is? Or if they think, well, last time they liked to hear it, and it was an easy experience to go and talk to somebody, they might come with a real original idea, and management gets the benefit of that they might not have had if they handled it the wrong way the last